Startup EVs versus legacy EVs, who will win? After General Motors abandoned its revival of the battery electric vehicle when it ended production of the GM EV1, Tesla Motors was the next to take up the challenge. After a faltering start, it has succeeded in designing, manufacturing, and marketing BEVs that consumers want. For more than a decade, Tesla had the startup portion of the EV market to itself. At the same time, Nissan took a leadership position in EVs from the legacy automaker side. Despite naysayers, Tesla stayed the course through several lean years to become not only the dominant EV supplier to the US market but also the top-selling US luxury brand. At the same time, Nissan has not profited nearly as much from its early entry into the battery electric vehicle space. Editor's note. Author, Elizabeth Creer, is the Vice President of the Electric Vehicle Practice at J.D. Power. Co-author, Kristen Lanzavecchia, is the Director of Alge Industry Solutions at J.D. Power. Now, the game is changing at a serious pace. Tesla's remarkable rise has spawned additional EV startups. And beyond that, it has prompted luxury and mass-market brands to develop their own BEVs. Worry over climate change and the resulting laws, regulations, and government pressures have also played their part in persuading both established automakers and venture capitalists to invest in new BEV models. This led to an unprecedented number of BEV launches in the past 2 years, with an equal or greater number still to come. Now, with both legacy and startup automakers deep in the fray, it begs the question: will the established auto manufacturers fight off the challenge from the upstarts? Many think they have the answers to these multi-billion-dollar questions, but what do we learn from the data? The J.D. Power EV Index monitors 6 key factors enabling us to track the progress of the transition from internal combustion engine ICE vehicles to EVs. While this index looks at conventional vehicles versus those powered by electricity, it also gives us a window into legacy automakers and startups' relative strengths and weaknesses in the EV space. One of the 6 factors is experience, a compilation of the measures of ownership experience offered by specific EVs compared with their ICE segment average. Experience is derived from data captured and quantified regarding initial quality, vehicle dependability, appeal, sales satisfaction, customer service, and vehicle range. As of February, the experience factor score was 87. Since a score of 100 indicates EV parity with ICE vehicles, one could say EVs are approaching parity. More telling in helping answer the question of whether established automakers or startups will succeed in the EV market are areas where there are separations between startups and legacy makers. We note 2 areas of obvious separation: vehicle sales experience and initial quality. The startups perform on average better than legacy makers in sales satisfaction. At the same time, established carmakers perform better than startups in initial quality. While some could view this as an indictment of the dealer franchise system, it might be more a reflection of the ability of startup EV makers to be single-focused in their sales training. And the latter might be explained as teething problems that will end when the startup's manufacturing processes mature. Startups have an advantage over legacy companies selling EVs because they can focus 100% of their efforts on the EV sales experience. Salespeople at the majority of dealers representing legacy carmakers must be conversant with both EVs and ICE vehicles. Since the EV ownership experience is quite different from the ICE ownership experience, the opportunity to build an entire sales staff trained and focused on selling EVs and only EVs is a distinct advantage for startups. Traditional automakers who want to increase their EV sales are well advised to understand that they have a hurdle to jump. They need to ensure that the salespeople representing their EV products are well versed in the nuances of EV ownership. The data also show positive levels of sales satisfaction for startups that use a direct-to-consumer sales model because that method eliminates price negotiation from the process. While startup EV makers appear to have an advantage in the sales process, the established automakers demonstrate an edge in their ability to build high-quality vehicles. The data shows that startups struggle with fit and finish issues like panel gaps and paint coverage versus their traditional competitors. The decades legacy carmakers have spent developing and tuning process controls for manufacturing give them a leg up in initial quality. One thing startups and legacy carmakers have in common is their customers' overall enthusiasm for the EV offerings versus the enthusiasm customers have for ICE vehicles. Whether they purchased an EV from a startup or a traditional carmaker, EV owners love their vehicle's quiet ride, strong acceleration, distinctive exterior styling, and interior roominess. On the other hand, EV owners are decidedly less enthusiastic about their vehicle's range. Even though we don't hear the term range anxiety as much anymore, range remains an issue. Any EV with a range above 275 miles gets a residual value credit. Any vehicle with a range below 275 miles suffers a deduction in residual values. But there is a diminishing return beyond 300 miles of range. Further, as the charging infrastructure improves and the time to charge drops, a higher range will be less influential to residual values. Still, whether it comes from a startup or a legacy automaker, any breakthrough offering significantly expanded range or significantly diminished charging time could have a meaningful effect on winning the EV market. Based on what we've seen, neither startups nor established automakers have such an edge in the EV space that it would preempt the other from success. At the same time, the legacy automakers, with their established supply chains, development processes, manufacturing skills, and marketing expertise, have demonstrated expertise in critical areas. They also can change their techniques and improve performance in areas like sales, where the startups currently have an advantage. Meanwhile, startups claim they have a clearer path to innovation since they are not burdened by tradition and conventional thinking. This example might say it all. During the past few months, Chevrolet and Tesla have been neck and neck for EV consideration. One brand is about as traditional as you can imagine. The other is leading the startup vanguard. That they are so closely competing for the EV customer just demonstrates that the American consumer has a very open mind when it comes to their choice of electric vehicles. Source: reposted and summarized from Elizabeth Creer at Inside EVS. Tesla sold 75,842 Giga Shanghai-made vehicles in April 2023. Tesla sold 75,842 vehicles manufactured by Giga Shanghai in April 2023. This is an increase of almost 5,000% compared to the same period last year when the factory was hit by the COVID-19 measures. Tesla sold 75,842 Chinese-made vehicles in April, according to data released today by the China Passenger Car Association (CPCA). This includes both domestic sales and exports. This reflects an increase of 4,916.01% compared to 1,512 units sold in April 2022. However, this is 14.66% less than the 88,869 units sold in March. Last April, Tesla experienced production disruptions in China when Giga Shanghai was closed. At the end of March, Shanghai was quarantined due to COVID-19 and all factories in the city were suspended. So far, CPCA has only released aggregated Giga Shanghai sales data for April. More information on how many and which models were sold locally and exported will be available in the coming days. In the 4 months of 2023, January-April, sales of Chinese-made Tesla vehicles amounted to 305,164 vehicles. This is a 66.13% increase compared to 183,686 vehicles in the same period in 2022. Source: reposted and summarized from Eva Fox at Tasmanian. Tesla eyeing EV battery material extraction processing in Canada. You can't build millions of EVs annually without access to enough battery cells, and those cells aren't coming quickly enough due to a lack of mining and refining. Elon Musk has already made it clear that Tesla may get into the battery materials business, and the company already has some plans underway. Now it appears to be considering a project in Ontario, Canada. According to recent reports, Tesla is looking for opportunities in Ontario related to the extraction and processing of minerals. In fact, the automaker reportedly already filed official paperwork with the Ontario government related to the potential project. Moreover, reports suggest Tesla is looking at the possibility of having an industrial facility in the area. While news like this from filings may not necessarily become reality, Tesla had the following details to share in the filings per Teslarati. Work to identify opportunities for industrial facility, mineral extraction and processing project permitting reforms to increase the competitiveness of Ontario and its ability to attract capital through approvals timeframes that are competitive with other locations, while working with government to identify incentives to further increase the attractiveness of Ontario. For further substantiation about what Tesla may have up its sleeve, electric autonomy questioned. Canada's Ministry of Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade, Victor Fedeli. The government official clearly wasn't required to provide any official statement or further details. But there was a response issued through Press Secretary, Vanessa de Matisse. Economic Development Head Victor Fedeli didn't specifically point out Tesla. However, he noted that Ontario is reducing the cost of doing business by some $8 billion annually, which has sparked massive investments in the area. Investments include $25 billion in the automotive and EV market alone over the past 2.5 years. Thus, it could prove highly lucrative for Tesla to invest in Ontario and devise a business plan with the province. This isn't the first we've heard Tesla may be looking to get into the battery business, and more specifically, mining operations in Canada. There have also been reports that the EV maker may consider an automotive factory in the country. However, it just recently decided to build its next North American EV factory in Mexico. Source: reposted and summarized from Stephen Loveday at Inside EVS. Tesla raises Model S and Model X prices in China. Tesla raised the prices of its two flagship electric cars in China on Friday, hiking the Model S and Model X by 19,000 Chinese yuan, or roughly $2,749. The pricing adjustments have been a regular occurrence for Tesla in 2023, as it has fluctuated the cost of each of its vehicles in various markets countless times so far this year. This is the most recent adjustment to vehicles in China. Tesla Model S, 808,900 yuan or $117,053.75. Tesla Model S Plaid, 1,028,900 yuan or $148,889.36. Tesla Model X, 898,900 yuan or $130,077.41. It is the second price change of the week for Tesla, as earlier this week, the automaker adjusted prices on the Model 3 and Model Y in several markets, including the US and China. In the US, the cars received a $250 increase. Tesla launched deliveries of the Model S and Model X in mainland China in late March. It has been a strategy Tesla has used to pinpoint price levels that are ideal for demand and fit consumer budgets. CEO Elon Musk and other executives pointed out recently that the company regularly looks at pricing across markets and determines whether adjustments are necessary. While the automaker has cut prices significantly when comparing them to last year, lower prices have their downsides. Automotive gross margins dropped below 20%, which had some analysts questioning whether Tesla's price points were sustainable. However, Tesla maintained that the margins were manageable and that there were no concerns regarding the drop. Tesla evidently continues to refine pricing, and it seems no end is in sight. As the company continues to control most of the EV market globally, Tesla is truly in the driver's seat when it comes to fluctuating and controlling pricing. Other companies have been forced to confront this with price cuts of their own. However, other companies have chosen not to get involved in Tesla's price war, which would be a tough hill to climb as the company also has the most robust charging infrastructure and most stable software systems, making them an ideal choice for consumers when offered at a lower price than others. Tesla sold 75,842 units in China in April, an over 4,900% increase from last year, but a slight 14.66% decrease from March. Source: reposted and summarized from Joey Klender at Teslarati. Massive Tesla Cybertruck parts order confirmed by South Korean supplier. It was recently reported that Tesla placed a large order for Cybertruck parts. Now, according to news published by the South Korean website, Making, the supplier has confirmed the order. As the story goes, the US EV maker placed an order for A, B, and C pillar parts for the Tesla Cybertruck. The total order was worth some 300 billion won $227 million, with the parts coming from supplier, Seoyeon Ewha. According to Teslarati, Seoyeon Ewha is a division of the Korean Composite Stock Price Indexes, KOPSI, which works to track the Korean stock exchange. However, interestingly, the company also produces interior parts for vehicles, along with various pillars. Seoyeon Ewha is currently renting a facility in Monterrey, Mexico, not far from the site of Tesla's upcoming factory. The parts supplier paid 13 billion won for the rental, solely for the purpose of manufacturing parts for the Tesla Cybertruck. Seoyeon Ewha says it aims to send expatriates to Mexico under contract to produce the parts beginning as early as June 2023. The company confirmed that Tesla placed the order and signed a 3-year supply contract, which is valid through 2028. The A, B, and C pillar posts will be used to connect the Cybertruck's body to its roof. The futuristic truck with its rigid, cold-rolled stainless steel exoskeleton will be constructed relying on different design and manufacturing practices than the norm. However, to no surprise, it will still retain common components and methods the auto industry has been implementing for years. There are still many folks who are skeptical that Tesla CEO Elon Musk's Cybertruck dreams may not come true, and/or that his timeline is still too optimistic. While we can't say for sure when the electric pickup truck will arrive or how long it might be before large-scale production is underway, it seems the reality is upon us. There have been many sightings of various Cybertruck prototypes out testing. Elon Musk and company have reiterated the Cybertruck's latest timeline over and over for some time now. Add to this the fact that the EV maker is ordering parts under contract, with the supplier taking up shop outside of its home country. And it seems inevitable that there will eventually be Cybertruck EVs on our roads. During Tesla's recent Q3 2023 earnings call, Musk mentioned a potential Tesla Cybertruck handover event that could happen around the end of the third quarter of 2023. Source: reposted and summarized from Stephen Loveday at Inside EVS.